Hey, it's Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing, the one place where you can come to where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, mixing that with sound wisdom to give you real things like products and businesses. Now, today I want to talk to you a little bit about something that some of you might bristle at. You might say, well, Don, that's not me, but I want you to think about this for a little bit, and that is that I have a lot of people that will come through my door. I have a lot of people that I will meet, and some of you guys, you all have got it together. Some of you all, you're really smart. You've really got some great ideas. You've got so much going for you, but when you meet people for the first time, you look to them like a crazy inventor. And what I want to tell you is don't look like a crazy inventor when you go meet people for the first time, because you're having to do all of these other things if you're wanting to be successful. And I've said this many times before, that if you're one of those inventors and you just want to come up with stuff, you just want to do stuff, and you're just having fun, and you just want to tinker, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I've met a lot of inventors that have done that, and if you want this as a hobby, then fine. However, if you have any expectation of money changing hands at any time during the process, that's called doing business. And you have to understand the business part. And part of that business part is how you come off to people, how you communicate to people. So today I want to talk to you about 5 different ways that you cannot look, 5 ways to not look like a crazy inventor. So, you know, although a lot of people out there are going to say, well, Don, you don't understand. People should respect me for my merits. People should respect me for what I do. And you know, in a way, you're right. People shouldn't just judge you on your outside. But unfortunately, that's the way most everyone is. Unfortunately, we're hardwired for this. If we see danger, if we see something that looks dangerous, something that looks sketchy, we've got this hardwired response to want to move in the other direction. And unfortunately, if people are seeing you in business, that hardwired piece kicks in, and if you don't look like something or someone or a situation that can help them with what they're doing, then they're immediately going to turn you away. Even if you have something valuable underneath. I always say sometimes you just got to kind of scratch underneath the veneer and see what's underneath in someone. Sometimes people have a really good veneer and they've got a good presentation, they've got nothing underneath. And then some people, they've got a really awful veneer. They've got this awful look to them. You know, they've got that crazy inventor look. But you scratch under the veneer and you've got something really good underneath. Well, unfortunately, people aren't going to see that. People are going to judge you by the veneer. And they're going to respect me by my work if that mentality does not play out in the real business-to-business world. So I want to tell you about 5 things. Number 1, I want to tell you to be professional. Now, when you show up to a business meeting, if you show up to an event, if you show up to a pitch competition, if you show up to whatever it is that you're doing, if you're doing a presentation, look like you belong. Don't show up in a dirty t-shirt and jeans if everybody else is wearing business casual. I'm not saying dress up all the time. I'm not saying, there's certain places, certain things where you're, t-shirt and jeans is fine. T-shirt and jeans works just perfectly. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's like people, they're kind of like, okay, what's this guy doing? And you know what? This is the funny thing. Sometimes when you're rich, you can get away with it. Well, if you're very successful, you can get away with it. I remember the first time I met this one guy, and he was very successful, and he was wearing a t-shirt. It was a business meeting. Most people were wearing suits. I wasn't even wearing a suit, because I don't hardly even do ties anymore. But everybody was kind of dressed business casual. He was in this t-shirt with something printed on the front, and he had hair that was just like poofed up. It was like, he was probably balding about like I was, and he was just trying to do a good job, like the poor job I do of hiding it. And so he had this hair that was like sticking straight up on purpose. And I thought, okay, that's kind of strange, that's kind of weird. It turns out he was the featured speaker, but he was a successful inventor and entrepreneur. So I'm not saying that that's not okay, but you can get away with it if you're successful. But if you're trying to meet people, if you're trying to do things, then you have to look the part. You have to look like you belong to be able to get in and be able to swim in those waters, and for people not to look at you and say, "Oh, that's an inventor. Oh, that must be one of those crazy inventors with the wild hair and the weird dress and all that." So look professional. So look like you belong. Don't stick out like a cosplay participant in a B2B event. So just don't do that. So another thing is to sound like you belong. It's part of being professional. Listen more than you speak. And don't go in and just want to reveal your entire mind to everybody in the room. That turns people off. That makes you look like a crazy inventor. Even if you're not dressed, even if you're dressed appropriately, it still makes you look like a crazy inventor. So, and people pick up on that really, really fast. So listen, I'm not saying be silent, I'm not saying be demure, I'm not saying let everybody else run the conversation. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying don't listen more than you speak. You will be better off, and you will learn more, and you will do more by doing that. But then when you do speak, make your words fit very, very well. You listen to the words of the conversation, the flow of the conversation. What's the standards of the conversation? How are they speaking? Just use the right words. Again, you want to sound like you belong. Now, number 2 is have your act together. Now, what I mean by that is to be prepared with your product. If you go in and say, "I've got this great idea for this product," well, do you know what your manufacturing costs are? Well, no, but I just know it's going to be a great product. Well, what about your, how are you going to have it made? Or do you know what market fit it's got? No, but it's this great idea. Let me tell you about the idea. You see, that's not being prepared, and people will pick up on that immediately. So be prepared, know your stuff. We've got other videos about this. We've got our own online classes about this, of how to get prepared with your product, with your business, with your startup, with your invention, to where you are prepared. And so when you talk to people, you're able to converse very, very well with them. And know your cost, know what your margins are, know what your market is. And to do that, you have to be completely immersed in all that. So do that, or have that done already. Number 3, have your story together. Now, I talked about this in another video. There's an escalator pitch, and there's an elevator pitch, and then there's the big story. And a lot of inventors, you're so excited about your product, you're going in there, and the first thing out of your mouth is you're wanting to just tell the whole big story. And guess what? By 3 minutes in, you've lost them. So you have an escalator pitch. Just be able to give them little sound bites, things that are interesting and engaging. And again, see one of the other videos or one of our classes. We've got several good classes on this, on doing an escalator pitch. An elevator pitch, a little longer than the escalator pitch, but have the long one, have that, and have all the little Q&A, possible questions they'll ask all together. Have that ready. But have the distilled pieces down, because those are your first little inroads to starting the conversation. So have your act together, have your story. Be prepared with your product. Be prepared with your story. So, and that was number 3. Was be prepared with your story. Have that together, just like the product information. Be able to tell it. Be able to spin it. Be able to communicate it very, very well, where it becomes engaging and really grabs their interest immediately. Number 4, exude confidence. And by the way, if you want to exude confidence when you're talking to people, meeting people for the first time, you do a really good job with that by doing a good job at points 1, 2, and 3. So, and if you forgot that, be professional, have your act together, and have your story together. So if you've got those things together, guess what? You're going to be more confident. So now, I'm not saying be cocky. I'm not saying be, just one of those cocky jerks that go around that think they know everything and want to tell everybody that they know everything. Don't be one of those people. Just be confidently competent. I'll tell you a story of a couple of doctors I've met, well, a lot of doctors I've met in my career, doctors, surgeons, pathologists. Some of them were just complete and utter jerks. I mean, were they smart? Oh yeah, yeah. Did they have a bunch of letters after their name? Sure. Did they want to let everybody know all that all the time in a just real arrogant way? Yeah. Don't be that person. That will turn everybody off immediately. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how many letters you have to after your name. If you act like a jerk, guess what? People are going to look at you like a jerk and a crazy inventor if you have an invention. There were other doctors, other professionals I've met, and they had what I would just call, they were confidently competent. And that was where they weren't cocky about it, they weren't being a jerk about it, but they knew their stuff, and you could tell they knew their stuff. And they had an air of confidence about it. They just exuded it without having to say it and without having to push it in your face. And if you have that as an inventor, as an entrepreneur, as a small business, if you have that, that's going to carry a lot of weight when you go and meet people and talk to people. Now, number 5, last but not least, be patient with people. This is very important. Don't be overbearing. Don't be impatient. Don't want to hurry up and let them finish what they're saying so you can start saying the next thing, because that'll kill it. That goes back to just not being able to talk to people. So don't be overbearing. Don't be impatient. Don't be rude. Be good to everybody. I say this a lot, and I think this is a great quote. It wasn't originally mine. I said, be good to everybody, because everybody somewhere in some way is having a tough time. So just be patient. If somebody else is being a bit of a jerk, just let them. Believe me, they'll end up hanging themselves with their own rope eventually. Anyway, but just let them be whatever. But then again, watch the flow of the conversation. Watch those really good, wise spots where you can just come in and say what you need to say to make your point, and you will exude a confidence, and you will exude a patience. And people will pick up on that, and they'll see that, and they'll see that you're not a crazy inventor, that you got your act together, and you might just happen to have something that they want. So, anyway, I hope these are helpful for you. Again, I'm Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing TV. Be sure and like, subscribe, help us to build our tribe. If you're looking for more content, check out our other videos. Check out our online empoweredinventing.com. We've got a lot of resources there, and I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online classes, or on the next video.